The United Nations Biodiversity Conference, COP15, has kicked off in Montreal, Canada, as representatives from 196 countries look to reach an agreement on biodiversity loss and what can be done to reverse it. In 2019, the Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services warned that 1 million species face extinction, as 3/4 of the world's land surfaces and oceans have been significantly altered. And according to international NGO World Wildlife Fund, wildlife populations have plunged 69% in the last 50 years. The head of the UN's Convention on Biological Diversity, Elizabeth Mrema, is urging bold action to avoid irreversible damage to the planet's ecosystems.
Nature is as important as climate. And for climate to succeed, it means nature has to succeed, and that's why we have to deal with them together. So if that is not the message by itself, that we need to do something, we are already late. At least the scientists are telling us it's not too late, but we are about to reach the tipping points. So if action is not taken now, then we'll be at the tipping points and the situation will be irreversible.
Addressing the conference, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said humanity is treating nature like a toilet.
Ecosystems have become playthings of profit. With our bottomless appetite for unchecked and unequal economic growth, humanity has become a weapon of mass extinction. We are treating nature like a toilet, and ultimately we are committing suicide by proxy.
The main goal of the conference is to conclude on a framework for biodiversity protection. A draft framework released last year includes 4 long-term goals for 2050 and 21 targets for member states to reach by 2030. These targets include protecting at least 30% of land and sea by 2030, managing pathways for the introduction of invasive alien species, and increasing financing to $200 billion a year. However, the draft includes several brackets as countries are yet to agree on a number of issues. Scientists and rights advocates have expressed concern, as none of the targets laid out in the last decade-long framework published in 2010 have been achieved.
Yeah, we can even go one step back. The target set under the convention for 2010 was not met. Then they set another 20 targets for 2020, and they have not been met. So looking ahead to 2030, what sort of deal are we going to get? What sort of framework? Well, the negotiations are quite fraught at the moment. There's a lot of disagreement amongst countries across most of the targets and the preambular text that surrounds the targets. So I think we will reach an agreement by the end of the conference, but the jury's still out as regards how ambitious it will be, whether it's adequately financed, and how we're going to ensure countries this time round comply with what they said they're going to do.
There are mixed opinions on whether a landmark deal on biodiversity protection will be achieved in Montreal, but it's certainly crunch time for a planet in crisis. A recently published UN report says financing for nature must more than double by 2025 to meet key climate and biodiversity goals. And with 50% of the global economy dependent on nature, scientists are calling for urgent action as fears of a 6th-era mass extinction grow. Leila Johnson Salami, Arise News.